Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Joyland, and in this tutorial I have created a website using HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript, which is fully responsive to any types of devices. If you see that I have designed it like this and put some effects on, and if you want to check it's being responsive, you can right click on the web page and go to inspect, and here you have to click on a toggle device, and here it's you will be able to increase and decrease your website or web page size. So here you see, if I decrease its size, you will see that we're gonna get rid of this list here, and it's going to change hamburger menu here. Change to a hamburger menu, and now if I click on you will see that we do have it here, and if you want to get rid of it, just click on it, it's going to disappear. So it's going to be responsive to any types of devices that you're going to use. So let's create a DAO, but before we start writing codes, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. So here I've created a folder called responsive website. Inside this we have an image, which is a image that we do use at the background of this website. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create an index.html file. So I'm going to say index.html, and this is inside the image, so I'm going to get it out from the image. Now we're going to get just rid of this ribbon, and I'm just going to type HTML, and this is going to generate this template for me if you are using Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to say responsive website. And inside the body, I'm going to come here and create a container. So I'm going to say container. And inside this container, we're going to have our navbar. So I'm going to say navbar. Inside this navbar, the first thing that we're going to do have is hamburger. And then inside this hamburger, we're going to have a div with a class of lines. So we need to duplicate this. To do so, we're going to press shift alt down. And after that, I'm going to get out of this and create another div, and this is going to have the class of logo, and inside this I'm just going to pass on each one and type the Joylearn. So after this, I'm going to come here, and here I'm going to create another div with a class of nav list. Inside this nav list, we're going to have our UL and LI, and inside this LI, we're going to have our anchor tag, which is going to refer to nowhere, but inside itself, we're going to have home. So we need it for a couple of times. I'm just going to copy this out and paste it down 5 times. So here I'm just going to say join as. This is going to be contact as. This is going to be about as, and this one is going to be design. So let's say design. Now we have to open it up in the browser. To make it life easier, you have to install an extension called Live Server. Using this, you will be able to right click on the HTML file, click on open with Live Server, and this is going to open your website live in the browser. So here I'm going to get rid of this I'm going to create a style.css file to style it a little more. So I'm going to create here, I'm going to come here and type style.css, and we have to make sure that our CSS file is connected with the HTML. So I'm going to come here. After this, I'm going to create I'm going to type link and link our style.css with our HTML. So now I save it, and I'm going to go here and select everything from here. So here what we want to do is to set the margin to 0 and the padding also to 0. And after this, we're going to come here and select our container. So I'm going to say container. Inside this container, we're going to give it a width of 100% and a height of 100 ph. So after this, we're going to give it a background. This background is going to be an image. So I'm going to type URL, and this is inside the image, and inside the image we have the background.jpg. And after that, we're going to set its background position to center and background size to cover. So I say cover. Now if I go to the browser, this is going to look like this. Now it's time to style our navbar. So I'm going to say nav bar, and inside this navbar we're going to set its display to flex and justify content space between, and also we're going to set its align items to the center, items to center, and this is going to look like this. And here actually this is a space, and this is not a space between, a space around. So now if I save it, and you will see that we have it like this, but you see that this this is at the center of the web page. That's the reason that we do have the, even this is not visible, this hamburger div is not visible, but it's going to take a space. So I'm going to come here and select the hamburger. So I'm going to say hamburger, and we're going to set its display to none for now. So save it, and you'll see that our website will get fine a space around, not a space between, and say between. So now if I save it, and this is going to look like this, it's time to install our margin here. I'm going to give it a little margin here. So I'm going to say actually padding. So I'm going to say padding, and this is going to be 10 pixels from all the sides. No, it's going to be 5 pixels from the top and bottom, and 10 pixels from the sides. Now it's looking fine. So now it's time to come and install this list here. To do so, I'm going to come here and type Navbar, and from the Navbar we're going to select the UL and set its list style to none. And after this, we're going to set its display to flex. So now you will see that they are oriented vertically. I'm going to give it a little margin. To do so, I'm going to select this one, and from the UL select the LI, and inside this we're just going to give it a margin of left off, margin right off, actually margin right off 10 pixel or 1 rem. So after this, you'll see it's looking like this. I'm going to increase its size. It's going to be 2 rem. So and it is going to look like this. So after this, we're gonna select our our A tag. To do so, I'm gonna come here and select the A tag, but before we do that, we have to install this a little. So I'm gonna come here. Before all of these, I'm gonna select the logo. So I'm going to say logo, inside the logo each one, and from this we're just going to set its color to white, and also cursor to pointer. No, it's not white, it is dark orange. So now it's looking like this, and we also have to give this navbar a background. So I'm going to say background, and its background is going to be an RGBA color, which is going to be 19, 19, 19, and 0.5. Now we have this. So after this, we're gonna design this list a little. So I'm gonna come here inside the code, and at the end I'm gonna type the navbar UL, and from the UL li, inside the li we have an anchor tag. So what we want to do with the anchor tag is to give it a color of white. So I'm gonna say white, and also we're gonna set its decoration to none, and it's going to look like this. And inside the li, I'm gonna come and increase its size. So I'm gonna give it a padding of we're gonna get rid of this and this one. I'm gonna inside this, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna get rid of the margin. I'm gonna give it a padding. So I'm gonna say padding, and it's padding from the right side. It's going to be 2 RAM, and its font size is going to be something like 1.5 RAM. So now it's looking like this one, but we just have to, it's smaller. So what's the problem? So here I pass join us, contact us, about us. That's the reason that it's looking bigger, even it's different. So I'm gonna get rid of this as no, I'm not gonna get rid of that. So after that, we have to put a hover effect on these. So I'm gonna come here and say navbar ul and li. Whenever we hover on li on an anchor tag, what we want to do is just set its color to a dark orange. So now I'm going to go here and check it out how it's going to look like. I'm going to give it a little transition. So I'm going to say transition, and its transition, it's going to select the color, and it's going to be 0.5 second. Now check it out, and it's looking really amazing. So after this, we're going to type our content here. To do so, I'm going to come inside the HTML and go at the bottom and find where our our navbar finished. So I'm going to come here, and here if I select on this, here we have the navbar, and outside the navbar I'm going to create another div called content. So inside the content we're going to have two sides. So I'm going to say left side, and we're going to have our right side. So I'm going to say right side. And inside these, I'm going to first put things inside the left side content. So I'm going to come here, and what do we have here? Here, if you check, we have an h1, a p tag, and also a button. So I'm going to create an h1, and inside this h1, we're just going to say web design. And after this, I'm going to create a p tag. So I'm going to say p. And inside this, we need some random text. To do so, I'm not going to go in a Word. I'm just going to copy this out and paste it down here. So after this, we need a button. So I'm going to come here and create a button. So I'm going to say button, and say we're just going to pass join as. Join as. Save it and go to the browser. This is going to look like this, and I'm gonna put the content inside the right side div. So inside the right side div, we're gonna have a form which is going to have no action, and inside this we're just gonna have an h1 which is going to tell us it is a login form, and we're gonna give it an input, and this input type is going to be email, and it's going to have a placeholder. So I'm going to say placeholder, and we're going to say enter your email. So email, and we need to duplicate this. To do so, Alt Shift down, and here we're just going to change it to password, and its type is going to be password. So I'm going to say password, and what do we have next? We do not have anything else. We're just going to come here and create a p tag because we have forget password here. So I'm going to say p, and inside this we're just going to say forget password with a question mark. So after that we have our button. So I'm going to come here and say button, and inside this button we're just going to pass login. So I'm going to say login. Save it and go to the browser, and these are looking like this, nothing even close to this one, but we're gonna do magic. To do so, I'm gonna go and inside the style.css. Inside this style.css, we're just gonna select the content. So after we have selected content, what we want to do is to set its display to flex. So I say display flex, and align item to the center, align items to center. And also we're going to give it a height of 90%. So now these are going to look like this, and after that I'm going to come here and select the content, and from the content select the right side div and the left side div. So inside this we're just going to give it a width of 50% and also a padding of 10 pixels. Now they are looking close to this one. Actually, they are organized well. So after that, here you see that we have this development at the other color. To change it, so I'm gonna come here, and before that I'm gonna say content, and from the content select the left side, Inside this, we're just gonna give it a color of white. The text color is going to be white, and a background of RGBA. So I'm gonna say RGBA. Inside this, so we're just gonna get it from here. So now we have this background color for this, and we're gonna give it a border radius of radius of 6 pixel, and we're gonna give it a margin of 1 rem. So now it's looking like this. We have to web design. Here, what do we have inside this? We have web design and development course. I'm just going to copy this and go in HTML. Inside this HTML, we're going to search for, so I'm going to come here at content, in place of this, we're going to have this. So now here it's going to look like this. We have this at the another line. So after this one, I'm gonna pass a BR. I'm gonna say BR, and before that, this development is in another color. So I'm gonna come here and create a span here, a span tag. So I'm gonna say span and close it off, and take this one and bring it inside this span. So after this, we're gonna select this each one, and after that the span tag. So I'm going to come here and say each one, and from the each one select the span and just set its color to the dark orange. So here we do have it like this, and after that we're going to select our p tag. So I'm going to come here and select the p tag, and we're just going to set its font size to something like 1.5 rem. Now it's time to design the button. So I'm going to come here and say button. This is going to be all the buttons that we do have in our web page. We're going to set its background to dark orange, and after that we're going to give it a border radius of 3 pixel, and we're gonna give it a border of none, and its font size is going to be 1 rem, and also its font weight is going to be bold, and color is going to be white. So now we have our button like this, and it's actually affected this button too. We're gonna give it a little padding to make it right. So I give it a padding of 1 rem from the top and bottom, and 2 rem from the sides. So now it's looking well, and I think that we are done with our left side content, and now we're gonna come here and design our right side content. So I'm gonna come here and select the right side content. So I'm gonna say dot right side. So what we want to do inside the right side, we're gonna set its margin to 2 rem. Sorry, margin to 2 rem, and its background is going to be black. And also give it a border radius of 1 rem. Now it's looking like this. We will fix it even though it's looking ugly. So I'm going to come here, and inside this we're going to select the form. Inside the form we're going to set its display to flex, and also flex direction is going to be column, and we're going to align everything to center. Here we have our login, but it is not visible. So I'm going to come here and select the form, and from the form select the each one, and we're just going to set its color to white. So I'm going to say color white, and also padding of 2 rem. So I'm going to say padding 2 rem, and we're going to give it a border. No, we are not going to give it a border. So now it's looking like this, and after that we have not anything else. So I'm gonna select the form, and we're gonna design our input. So I'm gonna come here and say input, And what we want to do with this input, we're going to set its color to white because there's going to be some problem. And we're going to give it a background of transparent background, and its background is going to be transparent, and we're going to give it a width of 80%, height of 2 rem, and the margin of 1.5 from the top and bottom, and 0 from the sides, and border to none. But we're gonna give it a border bottom of so light and 1 pixel, and its color is going to be dark orange. So these are looking like this, nothing amazing, but at least they are really looking cute. And also you notice that we have it at the side. I want to have them at the center, so I'm going to set its text align to the center. So after this, I'm going to select the placeholder here. Yeah, but the placeholder are looking well, I guess so. So the placeholder is looking like this, and we're just gonna set its everything is fine. I'm not going to do anything with. I think that it's looking perfect, but we have our forget password here. To do so, I'm gonna select the form, and from the form select the p tag, and again and give it a margin of 1 rem from the top and bottom and 0 from the sides. And we're gonna give it a color of white to can be visible on that, and we're gonna give it a font size of 1 rem, and we're gonna give it a text decoration of underline. Now it's looking like this, and after that we're gonna come here and change our button to something like this. To do so, I'm gonna come here and select the form, and from the form select our button. Select the button, and inside this, what we want to do is set its width to 80%, because the size of these elements are 82 and 80 actually, and its margin from the bottom, it's going to be 1 rem. Now I think that we're done with the styling of this, and it's time to make it responsive too. So to do so, I'm gonna click on right click on the web page and click on inspect, and after that I'm gonna put its sometimes my computer get crazy, that's why that it doesn't work. So now you see that it's looking like this, and now if I increase its size, it's going to work fine till which size? Till size of 7, actually it is 770. So I'm going to come here and select this. These are going to create a problem for me, so I'm just gonna set this to about home. So I just here I have to think of the padding and margin that I'm gonna give to this, but it doesn't matter, so I'm gonna go and do it. So I'm gonna come here and add a media query, so I'm gonna say media, and this media query is going to work at the size of 700. Its max width is going to be 770, actually 70 pixel. So inside this, we're just gonna come, and you remember that so before that I'm gonna set its navbar background to none. We don't want to have a background for the navbar, so I'm going to say background, and this is going to be none. And after that I'm going to select the hamburger, and you remember that we set the hamburger display to none, so I'm going to say display to flex, and we're going to give it a justify content of a space between, justify content space between. But before that all of these, I'm gonna select the lines of hamburger. So I'm gonna say hamburger, and from the hamburger select its lines. So I'm gonna say line, and here what we want to do is to set its background to white, and also we're gonna set its width to 100%, and also a height of 3 pixels. So after that, I'm gonna come here inside. Actually, let's see how it's going to look like. I increase its size. So I didn't give it a position. After I saw it, I will show it for you. So here inside the hamburger, we type is justify content to a space between, and flex direction is going to be column. And also we're gonna give it a width of 35 pixel and a height of 30 pixel. And after that, we're gonna set its position to fixed. And now it's time to it will be visible for us, but it is here. So we want to have it at the right side. To do so, I'm going to give it a type of 5 pixel, top of 5 pixel, and from the right side it's going to be 10 pixel. Actually no, it's going to be 5 pixel. So we have it at the right side, and after that, don't worry about these things, we're gonna fix it later. So after that, I'm just gonna set its z index to 300, something like this, even though it's visible right now. But if I click on, if I set the click even on this, this is going to put under the list that we're gonna create. We're gonna make it visible. So that's the reason that I set its z index to 300 to put it before everything. So after that, here I'm gonna put our our hamburger hover effect. So I'm gonna say hamburger, and whenever we hover on, we want to change the color of the lines. So I'm gonna say, and so I'm gonna say line, and inside this we're just gonna set its color to dark orange, and also we're gonna give it a transition. So I'm gonna say transition of color, and it's going to be 0.5 seconds. So now we click on, it's not clickable, it doesn't matter. So we hover on, whenever we hover on the lines, it should change its color to these things. So I'm gonna say hamburger, and whenever we hover on hamburger, we want to change the color of this to dark orange. It should work, but I don't know why it isn't working. It isn't working for some reasons. So I will fix it later. So after that, here I'm gonna come and select the UL, which is the fun part and the most hardest part of this application. So I'm gonna say Navbar and UL. We're gonna set its display to none for now. So now you will see that we do not have any nav here, and we can do our stuff here. So I set its flex direction to column, and column, and also we just gonna set a justify content to a space around, and also we're gonna align everything to the center, items to center, and these are not going to be visible, else we're just gonna make it visible using JavaScript. So after that, we're gonna set its position to absolute. So I'm gonna say position to absolute, and also from the right it's going to be at 0 position, and from the top it's going to be at the position of -2 rem, and we're gonna give it the background to, I'm gonna say background and RGBA, and this is going to be a color like this. No, it's going to be 30, 30, 30, and 0.5. So after that, we're gonna give it a height of 100 VH, and its width is going to be 50%, and also its padding is going to be 1 area. So now we're done with, and now we want to, if we click on, it shows this menu that we have created here, and if we click on again, it's going to disappear it for us. So I'm gonna go inside our code, and here we have to create a script.js tag. So I'm gonna click on this and say script.js. So now you have to make sure that you are connected with with HTML. So at the top, I'm going to come and type script src. Inside this, we're just going to pass a script.js, but this is going to run before all of our HTML and CSS. I'm going to say defer. So after that, I'm going to come here inside the JavaScript, and we need to select I'm going to say const, and we're going to select our hamburger. So I'm going to say hamburger and assign it to document.query selector, and this is going to be the hamburger. So I'm going to say hamburger, and after that we need it for other time, and this is going to be our navbar. So I'm going to say navbar, and from the navbar it's going to select the UL actually, and after that here we need to change the variable name. So I'm going to say navbar list, and here we're going to come and put an even listener to hamburger. So I'm going to say hamburger.add even listener, and it's going to listen to a click event. Why it does it like this? So click, and after that we're going to run a function. So I'm going to decrease its size to things gets visible for us. And after that, here inside this function, we're going to say if. And if we click on, we're going to say navbar list, and from the navbar list, select its style, and from the style set its display to flex. So now if I go here, and here we do have our hamburger, and if I click on, it's going to display, sorry, it didn't work for the first time. I click on, you see that we have our menu here. So we want to this, but if I click on this hamburger menu, it's not going to disappear for us. To do so, I'm gonna make this function something like toggle to toggle it for us. So I'm gonna say var count click, and for the by default it's going to be assigned to 0. And now I'm gonna come here and write a condition here. So I'm gonna say count click. I'm gonna open up a parenthesis. I'm gonna say count click if the remainder of count click on 2 is equal to something 1. This is going to actually, before that, I'm going to increase the count click every time we run this function. So this is going to increase this count click to 1 every time, and divide it, gets its reminder to 2, and if it's equal to 1, this is going to visible or show this for us, else it's going to get rid of this. I'm just going to copy this out and paste it down here, and we're just gonna pass the flex to none. So I'm gonna say none. Now if I go here and click on, it's going to be appear, and if I click on again, it disappear, appear, disappear, appear, disappear. Nice song. Appear, disappear, appear, disappear. So after that, I'm gonna decrease its size, and these are we need to put these in a column mode. To do so, I'm gonna go in style.css, and inside the style.css we're gonna write another media query. To do so, media query, at which size we want to write our media query. So till this size it's fine, but after this size you see that it's getting messy. So to fix it, I'm gonna go and write our media query here. So inside this, white goes at the top of this. So I'm gonna come here and write our media query. So I'm gonna say media, all the box that we do have here, I'll fix them. And inside the media, at the width size, it gets messy, it gets at the size of 570. So I'm gonna come here and say max width of, what was it? 570 pixel. What we want to do with this, we want to at this size, when it reach to this, we're gonna set its a colon to these contents to flex. So I'm gonna say dot content, and this content are going to be flex. Its flex direction is going to be column. And now I'm gonna get out of this, and inside this we're just gonna say content, content of a right side and the left side. So I'm gonna say dot left side. So here what we want to do is set its width to 90%. So now if I decrease its size, you'll see that it's going to look like this, and it's fixed now. If I click on, it's gonna visible and it's going to disappear. So after that, in the size of 200, actually about 300, it's getting a few messy, and these texts are more bigger. So at the top, at the size of the 300 pixel, so I'm gonna say 300. What we want to do is to come here and set its each one that we do have in this web page. We're gonna set its font size to 1 RAM and actually 1.5 RAM, 0.5, and we're gonna select our p tag. Also we're gonna change the font size of p tags, so it's going to be 1 RAM, and the buttons, so I'm gonna say button, and these size are going to be font size, these are going to be 12 pixel, and also we're gonna have our padding, and its padding is going to be 5 pixel from the top and bottom and 10 pixel from the sides. So now they are getting smaller, and I think that everything looks perfect without this, which is a few bigger. To fix it, at the size of 300 pixel, we're just gonna select our hamburger. So I'm gonna say hamburger and set its width to something like 25 pixel, and its height is going to be 20 pixel. Now it's getting smaller. If I increase its size, it's looking like this. If I decrease its size, it's going to look like this. I forget that we did have some box in this application. What was it? If I check it out here, I see there's no problem, I guess. These colors are white, but these are in a dark mode, but I think that this one looks better. But if you want to edit it out, I'm gonna go at the top here. I'm gonna select the placeholder. So I'm gonna say placeholder, and its color is going to be white. Yeah, it's looking like this, but we don't want it. I think that the first one is looking better. You even can set its background to something like a dark gray. Now it's looking the way that we want it. And is it fully responsive to any size? Yeah, I think so that there is no problem. So here you could see that if I decrease its size, it changes its direction to columns, and these are looking really perfect. So you can use this types of website if you are creating a responsive website. and I hope that you guys learned something from me. I feel like there's a problem, but I don't know what. These sizes are bigger, so we want to make these size smaller. To do so, I'm gonna come here and inside our media query, not at 300 pixel, at here, I'm gonna come and select our UL here, ULLI, and its font size is going to be something like 1 area. So now, if I decrease its size more, 0.8. Actually, if I set it to something like this, if I select it right, no, we select something wrong, AL. Really small. So I'm gonna just set it to 1 rem. Actually 2 rem. No, bigger, 1.3. And now it's looking well. So here we also have its hover effect, but you notice that you do not have cursor on your mobile to see how its hover effect is going to look like. But if you press your finger on the tabs, these are going to look like this. So I think that everything is fine now, and this was from our tutorial. And if you guys understand and want to support me more to create tutorials like this for you, you can hit that subscribe button to my channel, and also take care of yourself, because you are the only person who are watching my videos. Yeah, take care of yourself and bye.